Hello there. Once again, it is time to take another revealing peek back into history.
What famous date shall I send it to today?
Once again, it's time for Throwback Thursday, a second chance to look at some truly awful podcasts. No, wait, a second chance to see how far Vicis Interimo has come over the last 8 years. New episodes will be released pretty much weekly, but Thursdays I've reserved for throwbacks to see how far we've come. A lot of the information on here no longer applies, whether that be businesses or links that may not work anymore, so be advised of that. But again, I want to thank the patrons that we have at this time, though they may not have been here the first time these episodes were recorded. I am thanking them again because they're helping us move forward with our new episodes. And those are patrons such as At Lonely Bob, Big Al V, and Goldafish. In the meantime, I hope that you enjoy what you hear. Welcome to Vicis Interimo with your host, me, Michael Mad Saxon Jones, and my lovely wife, Lori. And there's the telephone, great.
Whoever's calling us. Hello? Hi. Okay. I'll come take care of it. Alrighty. Bye. Son of a nutcracker.
Hey, because I haven't turned us off yet. Vicis Interimo, 30 Minutes to Kill, a brief podcast about horror movie classics, cult favorites, and even new and unreleased movies. Let us help you kill some time. We're going for a 0 edit here on this one. Why are you laughing?
Because that sounds impossible.
It is. Welcome to Vicis Interimo, 30 Minutes to Kill. I'm your host, Michael Mad Saxon Jones, along with my lovely wife, Lori. Today's review is it The Vampire Journal or Vampire Journal? What's it?
It's Vampire Journals.
Vampire Journals, okay.
Yes.
So yeah, this is episode 77. That's going to be our movie review. I don't think we have anything really to cover in our Laid to Rest segment. So... You
don't want to talk about Radu?
Oh, no, I'm through talking about Radu.
You've laid him to rest, haven't you?
Yeah. Well, we'll get back around to your affection for villains some other time, I guess.
That's not what I'm talking about.
Okay, I guess we really don't have anything to cover in our Laid to Rest segment. So we'll just get right into our review of Vampire Journals.
Do you believe that people can dream about what's going to happen?
No.
Do you believe in the boogeyman?
No.
Then you won't mind cold cocking this guy when I bring him out.
Cynthia, so glad you're home. I have some very exciting news.
Well, I have some news for you too, Jonathan.
Me first. I've just discovered a great podcast called Mail Order Zombie, and it's hosted by a married couple just like us.
Yeah. Speaking of that, I had a meeting with the lawyer today, and...
It's mainly about direct-to-DVD zombie movies, but the show covers a whole range of zombie culture. Games, books, plays, comics, you name it.
Well, as you know, I've been spending a lot of time with my massage therapist, Rodrigo.
Is he into post-apocalyptic novels, films, and TV shows? Because if he is, you should let him know that those things are all covered on Mail Order Zombie too.
I have taken the liberty of putting your belongings in these garbage bags over here.
Hope you remember to pack my MP3 player, because I'd sure hate to miss the next episode of Mail Order Zombie. You can find it online at mailorderzombie.com or just look for Mail Order Zombie in the iTunes store, and it's all free.
Yes, free, like I hope to be very soon.
So what is it you wanted to say to me, Cynthia?
You're an idiot.
Oh, I love you too.
Our review of Vampire Journals. Do you have a synopsis there for us?
I do.
Let's hear it.
As always. Okay, Vampire Journals. This one's rated R, and it's from 1997. 82 minutes long. So I would argue it felt longer.
Uh-oh.
Didn't it?
It did. No, it absolutely did feel...
Okay.
Feel...
Not necessarily a bad thing.
No.
Okay, here we go. Vengeful vampire Zachary, played by David Gunn, hunts down the night creature responsible for his girlfriend's death in this dark tale. After Ash kills Zachary's girlfriend, Zachary must come up with an airtight plan to murder Ash, but it won't be easy. Ash is a vampire with powers stronger than the average Joe vampire. Sorry,
Wow.
what's an average Joe vampire?
I'm not sure.
When Zachary learns of Ash's infatuation with Sofia, played by Kirsten Cerre, he must decide whether to use the femme fatale in his risky plan. Sorry, I should read these before I read them out loud. I should read them to myself and decide if it's the best synopsis or not. But
Definitely.
it was a little dorky, but there you go.
Okay.
All right.
And this one falls in between the movie that we did last week, which was Subspecies 4. Yeah. So, time-wise...
Between...
Well...
I thought you were saying between this and that. Between Subspecies 3 and 4.
Yes.
Is what you meant to say.
That's what I was saying.
Okay, the story doesn't fall in there, but this just happens to be when they filmed it.
Okay. Well,
Right?
I guess we'll get into that in just a little bit. First of all, generally, what do you think about this one?
Well, the things that I liked about it were the sorts of things I liked about the Subspecies series. Again, it was filmed in Bucharest. They were in Romania, and the sets were beautiful. The scenery was beautiful. I liked the club where the vampires lived, where their lairs were. I liked the color. It was kind of Victorian style, beautiful furniture, gold walls, warm lighting, which isn't typical of a vampire movie. It wasn't all dark and, filmed in blues and grays and stuff. It was brighter. Well, it was warm, and it kind of gave a nice contrast, I think, with the vampires.
Okay. I think...
It was opulent.
I think that what I noticed about it, at least the first note that I have here on the paper, is this movie seems more finished than the other Subspecies movies, the other movies that were done. Would you agree with that?
More finished.
Yeah, it seemed like it had a more polished air about it. Like you said, more of it took place in these warm sets, surroundings. Whereas the other ones, of course, took place more in Transylvania or Bucharest with Radu, going back to the Subspecies.
You can't help but talk about Radu.
Exactly.
Well, we watched the extras, of course, because these movies always have the awesome extras. And they talked about how they wanted this one to be more sophisticated than the first 3 Subspecies movies, which they thought Subspecies 3 was going to probably be the end. It's awesome they came back and made a 4th one. It's a little weird because they tried to work in part of the story in this Vampire Journals, but the story didn't quite line up with Subspecies, so I was a little confused because I thought they were trying to pull them all together.
Right.
They pulled the characters together, but not the timeline and not the events, so it was a little funky for me there story-wise. But, yes, he said he wanted... of course, the writer-director that did all the others, he did this one as well, and he wanted it more sophisticated, he said, and not so ancient. He didn't want really super ancient vampires or the kind of hidden, really scary ones. He wanted them more living among humans and, mingling with humans. And, of course, there was... More
along the lines of the Anne Rice-type vampires.
Absolutely, yes.
With Lestat and stuff.
Yeah. So in that way, if that's what you mean by more, it was more complex I don't know about more finished. I'm not quite sure what you mean by that.
Well, I mean, quite literally, too. It still had that B-movie sheen to it, but it...
Oh, yes.
It's still...
acting.
It seemed like that the rest of it, they took more time, it felt like. And maybe it was just because of the way it was shot in the areas, the way it was lit. Mm-hmm. But it had...
Oh, it was pretty.
A more finished feel to it than the subspecies. Subspecies feel a little rough around the edges.
Well...
and, have that clearly B-movie stamp to them.
Yeah.
And it just felt like this one had...
Radu is rough around the edges, and he lives in a dark hole. I mean, he's got Mummy, and she's,
Yeah. Okay.
They live a little harder of a life, a little more damp and dank and scary, and spiders and bones and blood. These are well-dressed, beautiful luxuries and money and wealth.
Yeah.
So, yeah, very different.
Okay.
Very different story.
And let's talk a little bit about the story. Like you said, it didn't necessarily tie in tightly with the other subspecies movies. No. That's something that we always like, or at least as far as I'm concerned, that's of the utmost importance is, the story. But in a case like this, I am willing to forgive those little...
Well, they didn't know they were going to do the fourth subspecies movie. So, as it was stated in the extras there, they wanted to tie all the characters in, which they did here. They mentioned Radu because, of course, he was master to the main vampire in this movie.
Right. To Ash, the music lover.
Ash, the music lover, who we know was, if anyone listened to last week's.
I think somebody listened.
A couple people did, like 2.
Thank you.
Just kidding. Yeah, subspecies 4, of course, they bring Ash back. And so, that was a little funky because the stories were quite different. You pointed out that the same actor played Ash in both Subspecies 4 and Vampire Journals. And even though Vampire Journals was filmed first, he looked a lot older. They made him look more ancient and older in the Vampire Journals. And he was a jerk. Radu wasn't that big of a jerk. He had his moments. But this guy was just mean.
Well,
and he was they made him look older and more crusty and stuff. He looked nice usually, but, he looked older, more lines and stuff. But then they filmed Subspecies 4 after this one, and they made him look more like a young man. Because when Radu goes to him and says, I'm here to take over my empire again, you can go move somewhere else. Not somewhere else, but move to another room or whatever. He comes in, and he looks more like a young man, and his hair's lighter, if I remember that correctly. But he looks more pretty, I guess. I don't know how else to say it.
Okay.
He looks more like a young man.
Well,
he doesn't look like a threatening, scary vampire.
I don't think, and I absolutely disagree with you on this, because I think that Radu is just as bad as Ash, if not worse. I just don't think the story focused on everything that Radu had done in the past. But you know what? That's the fun of these movies, and at the time that I saw them was reading more subtext into what's going on.
Yeah, but what do we love about movies? We love strong characters.
Characters and
gotta look at their
stories and
gotta look at their personalities. Yeah. And I can't say in Subspecies 4 because Ash wasn't. The worst thing Ash did in that was try to take out Radu, which, of course, he didn't want him coming back and taking over his empire, so yeah, okay. But in this movie, Vampire Journals, he did some just mean-spirited things just because he could. and Radu didn't do that.
Well, like I said, I'm sure Radu did along the way somewhere, but that's something I enjoyed about.
You know what I mean? It was like he was more mature. He'd been around for so long. Like, he'd seen it all and done it all, and he's reached that. Sometimes you see vampire movies where the younger ones are more mean-spirited.
Right.
You can almost look at it with life, teenagers, 20-year-olds. You get older, you get to know people more, you get more tolerant, you have more empathy towards people. the vampire stories, you can a lot of times see that in there.
Yeah.
It's like they're so old and they're so ancient and they've been around for so long and they've watched humanity, you know, go back and forth and grow and destroy each other and all of this stuff. And I think they kind of lose that mean-spiritedness. They're just kind of, I don't know.
I get that. And now we're going to go back to, or at least I'm going to go back to the Anne Rice thing. That was one of the things that she said in one of the interviews, and I wish I had exactly where it was so I could quote it. But she pointed out the fact that as far as she was concerned, that vampires that had that much power and ability would become less and less interested in human affairs the longer they went on, because, you know, the novelty of controlling or dominating others, in this case other species, would maybe eventually wear off for some people. So that's an interesting way to take it.
So, yeah, that kind of makes sense. And in this, you know, Ash is very, you know, he wants the money, he wants the power, he wants all of his minions around him bowing down to him. You know, that's not what Radu was about, but maybe he was at one time.
Or maybe he would have been if he got
What time and place are these people from, too? You have to look at that also.
That's true.
Look at Bill. He's a Southern gentleman.
Oh, no. True blood, huh?
That was a crazy shift. Sorry. It just came out.
That was a great segue. Okay, well.
But yeah, you know, he grew up a Southern gentleman, and, okay, he's a vampire now, but he still retained his, you know.
Okay.
He's not a complete jerk. He still is a gentleman to a point. He's got his, you know, they're all going to have their animal side. Otherwise, they wouldn't be a vampire.
Yeah.
But, so anyway, this guy, Ash, I don't know. I thought he was a little mean-spirited. And
he definitely was mean-spirited. No, I'm not defending that. I am saying I enjoyed that, though, about him, and I could, yeah. But here's the thing. We're completely neglecting the hero of the story.
Oh, yes.
Which was Zach. Is that by design? I mean...
I don't know. Yeah, I guess we should talk... Like, just ignoring the whole story and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so we've got Zachary, the vampire, and now he is a vampire slayer.
Yeah. And did you like the story as far as that went, or...
It was a little weak for me.
Well,
he's basically, and I didn't even catch that was Ash in the beginning. I would have liked a little more clarification, because it starts out this kind of dreamy scene, you know, a woman dancing around. I guess that was a piano, which makes sense. And she stops, and there's a vampire up above her on the balcony clapping, looking down at her, and he swoops down and takes her and whatever. And then there's Zachary, our hero. But no, see, now I'm even more confused, because do you remember what he does? I don't know if we want to talk about this opening scene, but the synopsis says that Ash killed Zachary's girlfriend, and that's the whole motivation behind Zachary wanting to kill Ash and Ash's entire bloodline.
Right.
So I'm still a little fuzzy with that.
Okay, well, I guess where I was going with this mostly then is the fact that I feel that the movie was good, probably fine for when it came out, but talking about sophisticated, I think the audience for these type of movies has become more sophisticated since then. Yeah. And so they wouldn't play. This is what I was trying to sum up earlier when we talked about the subspecies movies, and I didn't know how to rate them, because for me they had nostalgic appeal and maybe they wouldn't play for a modern audience. This is a good example of it because, like I said, these holes of the story, okay, we're picking them apart now and looking at them, whereas I feel if it was written today, it would have to have a tighter story.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so on. So... Yes. That's kind of where I was going with the rest of that.
Yeah, well, it's definitely, well, wow, 97. And it was, I was going to say, it's got that 80s feel to it. It really does. It has an 80s feel to it still. Yeah. And the acting, what did you think of the acting?
Acting was fluctuated between good and bad and really bad. Because there was a scene about, I wanted to say 30 minutes in, but then I found it was only an 80-some minute movie, so it may have only been 20 minutes in or so. But there's a scene where the pianist, you're gonna have Sofia, is requested to play at Ash's club for $1,000 in the evening, and just that whole scene where she comes out and meets Zach and tells him that she's going into Ash's lair. That was such a painfully bad scene. And
okay, here's why.
Why?
Because if I had to put these people in order of best actor to worst, I would put Zachary and Sofia absolutely at the bottom. Okay. They were not very good.
Which is too bad because that's your love interest and your
hero, yeah. Right. And it was funny because then in the extras we found out they went to acting school together. Fire the teacher. But yeah, she was not good. She was not good, and he was okay just when he was standing there looking scary, and he wasn't even supposed to look scary. He was supposed to be like the more dashing, good-looking hero guy, and he so wasn't. Like, ew, are we sure that's because those first couple scenes where Sofia, of course, is just an American visiting over there. We didn't really talk about who she was over there. She's a pianist, and she's, I guess, just traveling, doing these.
Yeah, so we never got a full.
I don't know. I'm talking about something. I have no idea what I'm.
Yeah,
I wasn't sure I was going with that.
That's what I do with it. I just make it up as I go.
Just make it up as you go.
Make it up as you go.
Okay, she's an American playing the piano in Bucharest. There we go. To large audiences in beautiful theaters. There we go.
Okay.
But yeah, when she talks, she's a terrible actress. Now I forgot the whole point of where I was going. Okay. Why am I talking about her?
I don't know.
The first couple scenes where she sees him for the first time. First of all, he goes to watch her perform. He's sitting in the audience. And I wrote down the line because the whole movie is narrated by this guy, Zachary, which I did not care for the narration. It was like, please make it stop. But he's supposed to be... Oh, where is it? Darn it, I wanted to write the exact quote, but he says something about, how some of us, we hide our faces, but some walk among the humans. And when you got to see what Ash looked like, and you got to see what Zachary looked like, Zachary should be hiding his face. He looked like a ghoul. He's sitting in the middle of this theater with all of these people, and he looked like a ghoul sitting there. And his fangs were out the whole time. They didn't retract out. He always looked scary. He always had scary lighting and those cheekbones sticking out, like scary. But this girl's just like, oh, hi, la, la, la. And they're talking and, I don't know. I was like, hello, are you blind?
Well, see, the vampires always have this low grade of hypnotism that's going on. And they're actually beguiling their people they're talking to.
Yes,
and,
yes. Well, I think they put too harsh of makeup on him for those scenes. He should look beautiful, like Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt. He should have looked more attractive, I feel, and maybe at those moments, those more scary, tense moments, that's when they should have, hit us with the more scary, contrasting makeup and things and... But he always looked like that, and his hair was always all kind of like he was not pretty.
Well,
it was not good.
Not everybody can look as good as Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt, or I. So
well, that's for sure. Yeah, okay, that was maybe not being fair, but you know what I mean, though.
Yeah, I got you.
If he's going to be the handsome hero, used loosely hero, he is a vampire after all. But he's what did they say here? I wrote it down too, and my notes don't make any sense. But he was the vampire. He had a mortal heart. He feels pity for his victims, and he has a mortal heart. Yeah. But he looked like he was related to Radu. I mean, he was not. He didn't blend. It just kept talking about how he could blend and he lived among humans, but I wasn't buying that. Okay. I'd be like, look at that guy over there. Oh, my gosh. And, you wouldn't mistake him for just like a goth kid or something because he was a kind of, I don't know, a little over the top for me.
Okay, well, what would you give this movie for a rating? After we said all the things we didn't like about it.
Yeah, we were just talking about the things we didn't like. There was a lot of things that I did like still.
Okay.
Like I said, it still had that feeling of the subspecies movies, of course, with the giant, wonderful element missing, that I won't say, Radu. They said his name once. And we got to see a character from Subspecies 4.
That's true.
Subspecies 4, I loved the character Serena, and we got to see her for a split second because she was the one who made Zachary, so there was kind of a loose tie in there.
Yeah.
But there was absolutely things that I really enjoyed about it. I wasn't bored with it. It kept my attention the whole time, and I loved the sets. Like I said, the bad acting was unfortunate.
Right.
There was an awesome character in there named Dimitri, who was not sure what his deal was. I would have liked to see more about him.
Okay.
You know which one that one is?
Yep.
The older vampire who was kind of squeamish with, like, death and stuff.
Right.
Like, oh, I can't stand the smell of death. You know, he was such a pansy. But it was adorable because he's a vampire. He's like, can I have more incense in my room? Like, he was just so sensitive. So that was funny.
So what would you give this one?
I would give it maybe a 7.
Okay. I was going to say I would give it an 8.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think it does need to be watched with all the other movies and stuff, if you like it, if you like the other ones.
Yeah.
If you want a good vampire movie that I think has been overlooked, though, there's one called Dance of the Damned. It came out in 1989. I think they did a remake of it somewhere along the line. I'm not exactly sure, but it's about a vampire who follows, who goes to a strip club and gets one of the performers that he picks her up and takes her home, because she's contemplating suicide.
Okay.
So he wants to, he's trying not to feed on people wantonly, or at least that's well, you have to see it. I think it's a good movie. So maybe
Dance
look
of the Dead?
Dance of the Damned, and not Dance of the Dead. That's a different zombie flick.
Dance of the Dead.
Dance of the Damned.
Well, they are dead.
Yeah.
But they are, yeah.
But in this case, she was gonna commit suicide anyhow, so he's gonna take her home, and I think it's good. I think it's worth seeing.
So you're recommending that as a better one than this one?
No. Just if you want to see that, and maybe the subspecies movies aren't sounding like the greatest to you, here's another one that would be good that's been overlooked, I think.
Well, okay.
All right.
No, the subspecies movies should sound great.
Okay.
I would still highly recommend the whole series.
Gotcha.
And especially if you make it through the first one and you've enjoyed it, they get better. They keep getting better.
Cool.
So, this one though, again, I don't know about this one. I'm a little bummed that the stories didn't go together.
Yeah, they weren't a little bit tighter.
Yeah, it was just literally same characters, but the story timeline and the story and events, none of that was the same. Okay. It was just a way to tie all the characters into the same story. So that's always a little bit of a bummer for me because I like consistency.
Okay.
Because I spent half my time watching this movie trying to figure out the timeline.
Okay.
So.
Well, here's the one other tie-in, or the place where it fits in between for me as far as our podcast on the movies, because between Subspecies 3 and 4, remember me saying that my complaint was, what are they doing with the vampire movement and the use of shadows and stuff?
Yes.
This one summed it up for me perfectly, because I see that they went between 3 and 4, they made this one, and I did able to determine what I didn't like. I don't like seeing the vampires appear on screen. I like the use of shadow to show movement, and then the camera pans and the vampire's already there. That works perfectly for me. The vampire turning to shadow and then appearing in the middle of the screen just doesn't work for me. It destroys the illusion. I like the idea that, the thing was so quick, and how when you're someplace dark and kind of scary, you get that little glimmer of something in the corner of your eye and you turn to see what's there. Mm-hmm. That's what it should be like, and that's one of the things that I determined that's what went wrong with it, because I remember us saying it before, like...
well, even 3. 3, they started doing it in 3.
Yeah.
We talked about when he had Michelle out when Radu had Michelle out in the street and was trying to
Radu again, didn't you?
Yeah, I just wanted to say Radu again. Radu. He had her out there and was teaching her to hunt and teaching her how to stalk and stuff. And it was just that, like, you know, her body would stiffen up and she'd just be like, and she'd be gone. And then, like, the shadow would whoosh across the buildings and she'd just reappear over there.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what is that? I didn't like that. Because it was the way they did it in Subspecies 1 and 2, it looked really cool.
Yeah.
But then it kind of went wrong in 3, and it was really wrong in 4. And, yeah, this one fell in between 3 and 4, so it was really wrong, too.
Yeah. So, okay. Anything else about this before we move on?
Oh, I don't know. Let's talk really quick about Iris, if you remember who she is.
Yeah.
She's the human who runs the club where Ash and all of his family live.
Right.
What did you think of her?
I thought she was great. I thought it was interesting, too, them using, like I said, I'm familiar with vampire lore for lots of different reasons, but from also playing the Vampire the Masquerade role-playing games. Dork. Anyhow, so I like the use of them, you know, actually using something more than just a vampire in there. So having her, you know, run his errands during the daylight and stuff, that's always an important part of the mythology, I think. And it was good to see somebody that was competent doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like it said in the story, if you can control the night and the day, that makes you really powerful.
Yeah.
And so he had a powerful ally with her. And she was a good actress.
Yes.
I thought she was a good addition. And one other character was Cassandra, and that was, I guess, Ash's favorite.
Plaything?
What?
I said plaything.
No, not plaything.
No?
No.
Cassandra?
Well, I guess she was. She shouldn't have been. He was supposed to be mentoring her and teaching her, but you find out she's been with him for 2 centuries, and he's never let her even go out on her own.
Yeah, I guess I didn't mean plaything in a dirty or obscene way. I just meant plaything as in, you know, he, like you said earlier, he was like to be controlling.
I didn't think that's what you meant either.
Oh, okay.
Well, I mean, he was going to keep, you know, when they say plaything, it's someone they're going to mess with.
Yeah.
You know, they're going to be my plaything. I'm going to torture him a little and bug him a little. You know, that's what I meant.
Okay.
I mean, she was his favorite protege or whatever, but he wasn't teaching her anything. That's what I mean, but he's kind of a jerk. He was a jerk. See, and in number 4, Subspecies 4, when we meet him in that movie, he's doing the same thing to Serena. Right. He doesn't let her out. He keeps them locked indoors, and it's dangerous out there and whatever. But like, what's with that?
I don't know.
I'm going to say it again. Radu. He takes his proteges out, and he wants to teach them right away so they're able to fend for themselves. You know, what is Ash's problem? What is he afraid of?
He's just really insecure. I think he's got mommy issues or daddy issues or something. I don't know. But anyhow.
Oh, anyway. Yeah, Cassandra. I was wondering what you thought of her. His little...
Yeah, I enjoyed her. I liked seeing her character. I thought she was a good actress as far as I went.
I agree. I just didn't want to talk about, you know, we've got a couple of crummy actors in here, and this guy, Ash. I wanted to mention some of them better. High point. Iris, absolutely. She was great. Cassandra was great. Dimitri, it's almost worth watching it just to see a couple of the looks he gets on his face. So there was absolutely characters to enjoy in here.
Okay.
It may not be our hero, Zachary. Sorry. He was a big miss for me. But overall, I enjoyed it.
Okay.
I would watch it again.
All right. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Well, for those of you that are new or just listened to the last few episodes of our podcast, I promise I will not let her say Radu next week.
Radu.
So I'll just edit it.
Does it start bleeping me?
I'll just start doing senseless censoring throughout the thing. You'll just assume that she said Radu and I bleeped her. Anyhow.
I love him.
Moving on.
He's an awesome actor, and he was an awesome character. And I'll try to make this the last time I talk about it.
Brother D, what am I going to
do?
What am I going to do?
The voice, the face, the movement, like everything.
I'm just going to fade this out, and then we'll come back for garbage in, garbage out.
Oh, my gosh. All right.
All right.
Another world, another time, in the age of wonder. Another world, another time. His life was green and good until the crystals cracked.
So, speaking of garbage in and garbage out, we don't really have too much to talk about since I've been working so hard with school this week.
Oh, my goodness.
We do
now we've switched, haven't we?
We've switched.
Usually I'm working so hard with school, we don't have anything to talk about.
That's true.
Now it's you. Now you're ruining it.
I'm ruining everything. We did at least get to watch more. I know we've talked about it before already. Full Blood. Wow. How about trying that again? We got to watch more Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. If you've avoided that for any reason or you haven't checked it out, you're absolutely missing out. That's a great story, and it's really picking up.
Yay.
And
I'm glad you're enjoying it so much.
And I'm enjoying it more, obviously, the more I watch it.
Yeah.
But, the story is getting really good. They're going places that I didn't expect them.
Oh, my gosh, and you don't even know what's coming up.
Okay, well.
You won't believe it, because, of course, I'm way ahead I'm reading the mangas. Yeah. I'm on number 24 or whatever. I'm almost done here, but.
Okay. What do we have for Crawling Chaos? This has become the Lori segment. I don't even do it anymore.
Yeah, why is
I've got stuff to share, but really, who wants to know about medical abbreviations?
Oh, my gosh.
So, what do you got to share with us?
Well, this is going to be weird.
This whole show is, so
okay.
Don't worry about it.
I would like to talk about the Ivy League nude posture photos.
You're right. You completely got me. I have no idea where you're going with this.
So you've never heard of that?
I've never heard of that, and I can't wait to be informed.
Okay, well, here we go.
Tell me about it.
Well, Ivy League, quote, posture photos were completely nude photographs taken of all incoming freshmen at Ivy League and Seven Sisters colleges from 1940 through 1960.
Is this real?
It's absolutely real, and that's what is so crazy about it. Because this is in my Weird 100 book, which I love my book. But yes, this is absolutely true.
Not a problem. I will edit this, but what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, this is in fact true. What they would do is incoming freshmen, they'd have them report to the gymnasium, and they had screens up, and they'd take you back there, and they would actually have you drop all your clothing, and they would take 2 or 3 different shots of you standing in different positions, front, back, side, which was, of course, very traumatizing to a lot of people. But no one asked too much. There was a little bit in here where someone who had gone through this asked what it was all about, and they had different, it's just for our records, it's for your medical records, or it's, we're monitoring rickets and scoliosis and whatever. And they wouldn't give students too much information, and that was that.
Right.
You'd go off to your dorm traumatized, and you'd go, oh, my gosh, you'll never guess. And they went, oh, no, we know, we've been through it. So it did, in fact, happen. And it's crazy because a lot of people who went to those schools around that time, Meryl Streep, Diane Sawyer, George Bush, there's a whole bunch of people. Now, but here's what happened. Of course, as it says here, that really shows the times. You can't get away with stuff like that now. Okay, hold on.
I'm old and I'm on the edge of my seat right now.
Okay. It says here, the mind boggles at the cultural, academic, and societal mindsets that would have tolerated such a practice, and yet, during those 3 decades, no one even thought to question the idea. So, but it turns out, as I read on, and I did a little research online as well, there was two scientists that were doing a study because, of course, they were telling people it was just for records and medical reasons and blah, blah, blah. But it says here the reality is that the photos were being taken as part of a massive eugenics study in which the goal was to match intelligence to physique. Those who don't know what eugenics are, it's the study of hereditary improvement of the human race by controlled selective breeding. So these two scientists, W.H. Sheldon and E.A. Houghton, they were professors there. One was from Columbia and one was from Harvard. And they wanted to prove that body type predicted your innate capabilities and traits. Wow. So they were just recording. They were probably watching everybody's grades and their performance in school and matching it up with body type. So how interesting is that?
That's freaking crazy.
Is that nuts? Okay. This was from the 40s to the, it says through the 60s. I read online that they found photos as late as 1968.
Wow. So
that's fairly recent-ish.
Well, what would they make of Stephen Hawking then?
Oh, good Lord. Yeah, exactly.
So
it was just a study. It was nothing. It was just, they were matching up body type with intelligence just to see what they could find out. Sounds really dark and sinister, but I'm sure it was just a study. Hey, here's something interesting. Let's study it. And no one
thought to question it.
Nobody thought to question it. Yeah, it would be like parents would be like, "Excuse me."
You want me to do what?
They made sure people were, if the students were 17, they waited till they were 18 and got their permission and shot the photos.
Ridiculous.
So anyway, there's absolutely proof. It was kind of kept a secret and swept under the rug, and it talks about how a employee from Yale was, I don't know what they were. They discovered a group of pictures that were stored somewhere, and it was like, oh my gosh, what is this? That was in the 70s. And since then, they had a team come in and shred everything, burn everything. The evidence is pretty much gone. However, there are some at the Smithsonian Institution.
Wow.
So it says here as recently as just a few years ago, a reporter had gone down there and was able to look through them. And I found a photo online, so I've got that for you to post.
Okay. Well, you get that to me, and it goes in the show notes and in this week's graphic. I'll be adding that.
How's that for crawling chaos?
That's some crazy, crazy stuff. So
yeah, there's quite a list of famous people that went to school, as you can imagine, from 1940 to 1968.
Yeah.
And every incoming freshman was put through this.
Ridiculous.
So, yeah.
Wow. Yeah. All right. So that was, I'm not sure how I can top that. I don't think I can. I think you got it. Yeah, wow. Well, that'll be the show for this week then. Next week we'll be back with something other than subspecies or full moon or Radu.
I'm slipping him in there somehow.
I don't think so.
I will.
I got to find edit, so. So, anyhow, moving on. You can always get in contact with us by emailing us directly, emailing me directly at madsaxon@yahoo.com. Look us up on Facebook, or just friend me, S. Michael Jones.
They could friend me, too.
Really?
Yeah.
Nobody
friends me.
What's your account?
Well, if they find you on there, I'm on there as your wife.
Oh, that's true.
That's how easy it is to find me.
Ta-da. All right. Well, anyhow, thanks for listening. I hope this insanity gets cut down to 30 minutes or something close to it that makes sense or it's enjoyable. But as always, thank you folks for listening and coming back each week. We appreciate it.
We sure do.
And we'll talk to you next week.
Where does it say we got to keep those dumb out next door to where we sleep? Where does it say we should do any one thing but shoot the mothers in the head?
of a second